Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of The Sauce. Running through the MLB slate for Tuesday, April 25th. MLB, we started off the season red hot. Definitely cooled off a bit. We're still up about 5 units on the season, though. So let's turn it around. Let's have ourselves a good day. Let's dive into it.
Welcome to The Sauce. The Sauce. Sauce. Hey, get the sauce.
First up, Colorado's on the road in Cleveland. This is a 6:10 p.m. Eastern start. Starting pitching matchup, Ryan Feltner versus Peyton Battenfield. Cleveland opens up at -205 favorites. Total opens up at 8.5. Let's take a look at our spreadsheet. According to the model, for the first 5, the score is going to be 2-0 Cleveland. Full game 3-1 Cleveland. But this model is super raw. It still has some data from last season in it. So I'm putting the model in the videos because this is where they're supposed to go. But let's take the model with a grain of salt for the next couple weeks. So this kid Battenfield's been solid for Cleveland. I mean, the Guardians did lose both the games that he started, but he wasn't particularly bad in either of them. In fact, his only home start against the Yankees was actually pretty good. Good news for Cleveland, the Rockies bats on the road are just awful. In the last 2 weeks, they're 30th in WOBA on the road. They're also 23rd in WOBA against right-handed pitching. So if you're a righty starter at home, you love to see the Rockies come into town. I'd look Cleveland first 5 run line here. Now it's at -130, which is a little pricey. If you're scared of Cleveland's bats, which I kind of am, they have not been great recently. You could also look Colorado first 5 team total under. It's not open right now. I'm still recording this on Monday night late, so I'll let you know on the live show at 4 p.m. what that price is at. Next up, Boston's on the road in Baltimore, 6:35 p.m. start. Corey Kluber versus Kyle Bradish. Line opens up Baltimore with a -130 favorites, and the total's at 8.5. Let's take a quick look at our spreadsheet. According to the model, after the first 5, Baltimore should be up 5-1 and win the game 5-2. But like I said, take the model with a grain of salt for a couple weeks. Look at these numbers Prop Beaver has written down for us here. Corey Kluber against the Orioles. Ready for this? His last 4 starts against Baltimore, 1-3, a 9.0 ERA, 1.9 whip, goddamn, and a putrid 475 WOBA against left-handed bats. In case you didn't know, 6 of the first 7 batters in Baltimore's lineup are left-handed bats. On the other side, you got Kyle Bradish, who has put together some decent numbers in a limited sample size. The problem with Bradish is he has horrible career numbers against Boston, 0-3 with a 7.54 ERA and a 1.5 whip against Boston. That's ugly. The good news for Bradish is he has performed better against Boston in his 3 home starts against them rather than his 2 starts in Fenway. The bad news is the Orioles are still 0-3 in those games. I feel like the lean here has to be the over. In their last 8 matchups between these two, it's gone over the total 6 times, with 4 of those 8 games going over 15 runs. So definitely leaning the over in this one. Next up, Dodgers are on the road in Pittsburgh, 6:35 p.m. start. Noah Syndergaard is on the bump against Johan Oviedo, who's been sick. Line opened up Pirates just +105 dogs. Pretty close here. Total opens up at 8.5. Let's take a look at our spreadsheet, and I'm loving this. I'm loving what our model's giving us right now. Loving the Pirates. They're saying 4-2 Pittsburgh after 5, full game 7-4 Pittsburgh. Let's go. In case you forgot, the Pirates kind of owned the Dodgers last year. Pittsburgh went 5-1 against the Dodgers in 2022, and here they are looking to repeat that success with the best record in the NL. I'm not talking about the Dodgers, I'm talking about the Pirates. Noah Syndergaard's main struggle dating back to last year has been trying to get outs from left-handed bats. His WOBA against left-handed bats in the last 2 seasons is 568. That's tragically bad. Pittsburgh starts 5 left-handed bats in their regular day-to-day lineup, and sometimes as many as 6, and then add on the fact that Noah Syndergaard is more likely to implode on the road, as we've seen. On the other side, you got Oviedo, who's been so good. He's held opponents to 1 run or less in 3 straight starts, but here's where it gets a little scary. Dodgers are starting to heat up against right-handed pitching. The last 3 righty starters to face the Dodgers have a combined 7.29 ERA and a 4.4 home run per 9 innings. So Dodgers getting hot against righty. Ultimately, I'll definitely lean over here. If you put a gun to my head and force me to pick a side, I'm taking the Pirates at the plus money. But I do worry about the Dodgers lineup getting hot. So I'll rock with the over. Might change it up for the live show at 4 p.m. Next game. Houston's on the road in Tampa, 6:40 p.m. start. Louis Garcia pitching against Rasmussen. Tampa opens up as a -145 favorite. Total opens up 7.5. Let's take a look at our spreadsheet. According to the model, we got after 5 innings, 5-2 Tampa. Full game, 6-2 Tampa. So we got a righty-righty pitching matchup here. And in the last 2 weeks, Tampa is 5th in WOBA against righties. Houston is 7th in WOBA against righties. So definitely a tough spot for both starting pitchers here. Tampa took the series opener last night, but Yordan Alvarez sat for Houston. Obviously, not only is he the best player on that team, he's like one of the best players in the league. Having him back in the lineup tonight definitely helps. That being said, despite being a left-handed bat, Alvarez actually has significantly better numbers against left-handed pitching than right-handed pitching. He's got the power. He's got 4 homers against righties, but a 188 batting average against right-handed pitching so far. This line's on the move. It's moved 20 whole points already since it opened, so I don't have a pick for this one yet. I'll have to see what the line does. I might have a pick for this one on the 4 p.m. live show, but nothing for now. Next game. Mariners on the road in Philly for a 6:40 p.m. start. Logan Gilbert pitching against Bailey Falter. Phillies open up as slight underdogs here, plus 100. Total opens up at 8.5. Let's take a look at our spreadsheet. According to the model, after 5 innings, Philly should be up 3-1 and full game 5-2 in favor of the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, Logan Gilbert was great on the road last season. He was 8-1 with a 3.16 ERA and I think 18 road starts. So he was solid as hell on the road last year. He also has a great road start under his belt this year on the road in Chicago. He pretty much blanked the Cubs. But here's the thing that scares me about Logan Gilbert. 2 of his last 3 starts were really shaky. And this is a really tough spot for Gilbert on the road in Philly. Do you know that the Phillies in the last 2 weeks are 3rd in WOBA against right-handed pitching and they're 2nd in WOBA at home? If you're a right-handed starter, one of the last places you want to go right now is Philly. Phillies have Bailey Falter on the mound, and yeah, his numbers definitely look rough on the season, but of his 4 starts, only 1 was at home in Philly, and that start was actually really good against Cincinnati. And if you're thinking, oh, well, sweet, he had a good start against Cincinnati, who cares, it's the Reds. Well, against left-handed pitching, the Reds have actually been better than the Mariners. In the last 2 weeks, Reds are 24th against lefties, Mariners are 27th. I'm terrified of the Phillies bullpen. I mean, it's bad. So I'm going to stay off the full game. Definitely on the Phillies first 5, though. You can get it at plus 105 right now. Locking that in. Phillies first 5 money line. Next up, Texas is on the road in Cincinnati. Martin Perez pitching against Luke Weaver. This one opens up as a pick'em, even minus 110. Total opens up at 9.5. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, after the first 5 innings, the score of this game should be 5-2 Texas, 7-2 Texas on the final score. This line's already moved 20 points. You can now get Cincinnati as plus 110 underdogs. I want to fade Martin Perez bad because I truly believe his numbers are inflated so far this season. But the last 2 times I've bet Cincinnati, they've screwed me. So I'm going to pass for now. Next game. White Sox up in Canada play the Blue Jays. Clevenger versus Berrios, and it's Berrios at home, thank God. Line opens up Toronto favored minus 195. Total opens up 9.5. Let's take a look at our spreadsheet. According to the model, after the first 5 innings, score should be 2-0 Toronto, 4-1 Toronto in the final game. So a lean for the Blue Jays and the under there. So I want to back Jose Berrios at home. I mean, we all know how much better he's been at home than on the road over the last couple years. Also, it's the Chicago White Sox on the road against a right-handed pitcher. Terrible spot for the White Sox. That dates back a couple years now. In the last 2 weeks, they're 27th in WOBA on the road, 25th in WOBA against right-handed pitching. The reason I'm not all over Toronto is, well, for one, they're heavily priced here, minus 195, minus 200 favorites. And number 2, the line's moving the wrong way. It was up at minus 205, minus 210. Now it's down to minus 195. I'm a little sketched out. I'm going to wait and see what this line does. I might have a pick on the 4 p.m. live show. Next up, Nationals are in Citi Field to play the Mets. Still no pitcher announced for the Mets. Probably going to be Jose Butto against Josiah Gray. But as of right now, line's not even open, so I'm skipping this one. Next. Marlins on the road in Atlanta to play the Braves. You got Brian Hoeing against Charlie Morton. Braves open up as minus 250 favorites. Total opens up at 8.5. Straight up, I just don't know enough about this Brian Hoeing guy to give a bet out here. Plus, the Braves were just on a 4-game losing streak. They just snapped it last night. I don't know if I trust them right now laying minus 250 juice, so I'm skipping this one too. Next up, Yanks are on the road in Minnesota to play the Twins. Nestor Cortez against Joe Ryan. Good game here. Line opens up Twins slightly favored at minus 115. This total opens up at 7. Low total. We'll get to why in a second. Check out what the model says for this one. Like I said, it's super early. There's not a lot of data, and it still needs to be tweaked. Model saying first 5, 1-0 Minnesota, full game 1-0 Minnesota. Yeah, I know. Take it with a grain of salt for now. So straight up, I don't know if I could trust either of these lineups right now, which is kind of crazy to say, because heading into the season, I would say the Twins and Yankees are 2 lineups that most people thought would be 2 of the stronger lineups in Major League Baseball, but right now, not so much. In the last 2 weeks, the Yankees are just 24th in WOBA against right-handed pitching. The Twins are at home with their ace on the mound. Might be a really good spot for Joe Ryan. But on the other side, you got Nestor Cortez pitching for the Yankees, who's been great all season. And the Twins lineup, just like the Yankees lineup, just 25th in WOBA against left-handed pitching over the last 2 weeks. So great spot for Nestor Cortez as well. Also, both of these bullpens have been solid recently, and both of them are pretty well rested too. I completely understand why they got this total down at 7. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to lean under, but I'm not betting this yet. I'm going to wait what happens. I'm hoping the action comes in on the over, and then tomorrow at 4 p.m. on the live show, I can take the under at 7.5 or 8. wishful thinking. If I had to take a side here, I would take Minnesota just because last season Nestor Cortez's worst splits were night games and road games. So this is a night road game. But like I said, he's off to a great start this year. That's pretty thin. But if I had to pick a side, it'd be Minnesota. Next game, Detroit on the road in Milwaukee. Tigers coming off a big win, plus 135. We needed that cash too. It wasn't a good night. Spencer Turnbull pitching against Eric Lauer. Line opens up Milwaukee favored minus 147. Total opens up 8.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. First 5 scores should be Milwaukee 4-2. Full game Milwaukee. Slight lean on the Brewers, slight lean on the under. I'm actually going to pass on this one for now. Like I said, we cashed on Detroit money line plus 135 last night, but the only reason we bet that was because it was Milwaukee against a lefty starter. The Brewers have been so bad against lefties recently. Spencer Turnbull is a righty, and although he's been pretty solid this year, on the road against a Milwaukee lineup that's better against righties, number 1. Number 2, coming off an upset loss. It might be a really a nice spot for Spencer Turnbull to fall apart here. The reason I'm passing and not betting Milwaukee is Eric Lauer's numbers are awful against the Detroit Tigers. Absolutely awful. Ready for this? This is the Detroit Tigers' current lineup career numbers against Eric Lauer. 12 of 26, they're batting 462 as a team against Eric Lauer. 4 home runs and 2 doubles and just 26 at-bats. So yeah, I can't back Milwaukee in this one, even though I like the spot for them. For right now, I would say over 8.5 or pass. Next game, San Diego on the road in Chicago to play the Cubbies. Blake Snell versus Justin Steele. This line actually opens up as a pick'em, even minus 110. Line opens up at 8.5. Total opens up at 8.5. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet, and it's leaning clear-cut Cubbies here. 6-0 after 5 innings, 8-0 full game. Damn. This is super square, but straight up, how do we not bet the Cubs here? You got a lefty-lefty matchup, right? The Cubs, in the last 2 weeks, Cubs are 5th in Major League Baseball in WOBA against lefties. Padres are just 22nd. You got Blake Snell on the road, which we know he's struggled in that spot for a couple years now. I mean, to be honest, this year, he's not off to a good start at home either, if we're being completely honest. And Justin Steele's pitching for the Cubs. I mean, this dude looks like an all-star so far in his first 4 starts. How do we not back the Cubs here? No-brainer, has to be the Cubs. Like I said, this is really square. It just seems way too obvious. I would imagine this line's going to move. I would imagine the public's going to be all over the Cubs. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm definitely on the Cubs. Next game, Oakland's out in LA to play the Angels. Mason Miller pitching against Griffin Canning. Angels open up minus 217 favorites here. Total opens up at 9. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, after 5 innings, just be 2-1 Angels. At full game, 4-1 Angels. I actually am leaning Oakland here. I like this Mason Miller kid. He looked pretty cool in his first start. I'm scared to fade this Angels lineup against lefties. Definitely not scared to fade them against righties. Actually, in the last 2 weeks, Oakland and the Angels are tied for 20th and 21st in WOBA against right-handed pitching. So Angels lineup not blowing me away against righties. And look, I don't trust Griffin Canning. I don't care if he's pitching at home at Oakland. I mean, I know in his lone home start this year, he did pitch pretty well against Washington. And I also know he has the advantage. Most of Oakland's lineup has never seen him before, so that's in his favor as well. That being said, this guy isn't a rookie. I mean, he's been in Major League Baseball for 4 years. He's at 43 career starts. We know what this guy is. I mean, he cannot be relied on consistently. I think this is a solid spot to take a shot on a dog here. Oakland at plus 150, or maybe take the plus 1.5 at minus 125. I'm not taking anything yet. I want to see what the line does, but definitely leaning Oakland. I will let you know on the live show at 4 p.m. Next up, KC on the road in Arizona. Brady Singer pitching against Ryan Nelson. Line opened up Arizona minus 152 favorites. Total opens up at 9. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, after 5 innings, it should be 4-1 Arizona, 7-1 Arizona at the full game. So heavy lead on the D-backs here. Prop Beaver loves this one. These are actually his notes for this game. Brady Singer was an animal during the second half in 2022, but this year, an 8.14 ERA and a 9.44 OPS. Ew. Now, Brady Singer does have significantly better numbers against left-handed bats, so that's a positive when facing this Arizona team. The thing is, the D-backs have great numbers against right-handed pitching, top 5 numbers, so I really can't say Brady Singer has the advantage here. On the other side, you got Ryan Nelson pitching, and I know that his numbers are underwhelming, but of his 4 starts, 3 of them were against Padres, and Dodgers. He's had a little bit of a rough stretch of luck here. This should be a perfect bounce back spot for him against a Kansas City lineup that just straight up cannot score against righties. Kansas City against right-handed pitching is basically bottom 3 in every single category. The last time we saw Ryan Nelson pitch against a team that can't hit righties, against the Marlins, he threw 6 innings, allowing just 1 run. Add on the fact that the Kansas City bullpen is awful, and even worse against left-handed bats. Yeah, I'm all over Arizona here. Right now, you can get the Arizona money line at minus 130 on DraftKings, and I hate that I'm giving out a minus 130 bet. I hate that. But I truly think it should be closer to minus 150, minus 155. I think we're getting great value here, so definitely on the D-backs. Last game of the night, Cardinals on the road in San Francisco to play the Giants. We actually have no lines open for this one yet. Looks like we're going to get a struggling Manaea on the mound against a Cardinals lineup that absolutely crushes left-handed pitching. So that matchup, love the Cardinals bat. The problem is on the other side, you got Woodford pitching, who's been shaky as hell all year, and the Giants lineup kind of flies under the radar when it comes to hitting righties. They've been consistently top 10 against right-handed pitching this whole season. So like I said, no lines open yet. I would probably lean over, but we'll have to wait and see. I'll probably have a bet for this one for the 4 p.m. live show. Any major updates, I'll let you know on Twitter, so give me a follow there if you're interested. Also, like I mentioned a few times, live show 4 p.m. where we go through the line movement, take a look at what the public's at, and make our final pick. So make sure you tune into that 4 p.m. Eastern time.